Beijing, ancient capital, modern metropolis, the home of emperors, and the heart of a great cultural tradition. Beijing, old and sedate, young and dynamic, a modern open city on the fast track to reinventing itself. Beijing, where two worlds mingle. Being Beijing is experiencing the life, seeing the sights, sampling the culture. That's being Beijing.
Beijing Airport has three main terminals, T1, 2, and 3. You can get to the city by bus, taxi, or subway.
The fastest and most economical way of getting down to Beijing City is by bus.
If you opt to take the bus, a ticket will set you back a mere 16 yuan.
I'm so excited about arriving in Beijing. I'm going to do some light reading and find out what the city is about.
Beijing is the capital city of China and the country's center of politics, education, and culture. It's a city that has embraced modernization enthusiastically and yet still guards its historical and cultural sites jealously. In fact, most of them are great landmarks for navigating around Beijing, from the Temple of Heaven to the Drum and Bell Tower and Tiananmen Square, right in the heart of the city.
One of the first stops for any visitor to Beijing is Tiananmen Square. And where else would we start our 6-part series but at the center of this magnificent city? Welcome to Travelogue. Join us as we take you through the old, the new, and the extravagant of the city fondly known as the Jing. Welcome to Beijing.
When you think of Beijing, chances are two places come to mind: the Forbidden City and Tiananmen Square. People often mistake Tiananmen Gate, where you'll see Chairman Mao's portrait, for the actual square across the street.
You can't come to Beijing and not get a photo taken at Tiananmen. So, just to prove that I was here, can you take a photo for me, please, Mr. Cameraman?
With Chang'an Avenue separating them, Tiananmen Gate and Tiananmen Square are a must-see when you're in the city. You haven't been to Beijing until you've visited the site with all its cultural symbolism. For Chinese people, it's great seeing so many people from across the world visiting a site that holds so much importance to them. And just a short walk away are several other important historical sites, Mao's Mausoleum, for instance, and the Great Hall of the People, and the National Museum of China.
Tiananmen Square is not only big, it's ginormous. In fact, it's the world's largest square, and it's at the center of Beijing, which is great because it's one of its cultural icons. And on top of that, it's at the center of the center line that runs through Beijing. How fantastic is that?
Most of Beijing's historical landmarks lie along its central axis, an imaginary line 7.8 kilometers long, which splits the city into symmetrical halves. In fact, the city was built around this line. It starts at the Yongdamen Gate in the south and takes us to our next stop, the Drum and Bell Tower in the north.
It's quite a view from out here. I'm standing at the Drum and Bell Tower, the northmost part of the central line that cuts through Beijing. And on both sides, you can see the Hutong areas where there are traditional courtyard homes of the local Beijing people. The Hutong area might look kind of messy on the outside, but the courtyard homes themselves, they're actually really symmetrical and neat on the inside.
So let me show you my hostel. It's pretty special, a renovated courtyard house. I'm feeling a little jet-lagged anyway, so I'll just freshen up before heading out again.
Here we are at my hostel. See, in the old days, they used to use this as a knocker. Go like that and they'll let you in. But nowadays, they have doorbells.
Come in, please.
Hey, Anna.
Hello, Michelle.
Did you have a good day?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Are you?
Yeah, I had a really good day today as well. Okay, I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to go to my room, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye. This place is magnificent. This used to be a traditional courtyard, but now it's been converted into a hostel. So there are rooms on all four sides, and it's just so beautiful.
You can choose from a range of rooms, 8 to 12 bed dorms if you're on a budget, or a double or twin ensuite if you want a little bit more privacy. And they're not pricey either. Expect to pay anything for $14 to $40 US a night.
I should do mine later as well. But later. Alright, I'm going to show you my room. This is my room. Home sweet home. You know, the first thing that I want to do when I get home is just lie in bed. It's so comfy. And you gotta love the modern amenities. Modern toilet, fresh towels, great shower, and Chinese basin and Chinese furniture combined together in this great bathroom. Well, if I want to go out, gotta get ready, so leave me be.
There's a whole range of places you can stay at while you're in Beijing. But I think a renovated Hutong Courtyard is the only way to go. It's quaint, personal, and if you speak to the owner, you might just get yourself an inside guide to the city. This one in particular is only a 10-minute walk away from the Forbidden City.
Okay, so if you want to stay where I'm staying, in a typical courtyard hostel, this is what you do. You type in hostelworld.com, and then you click on China, type in the city, Beijing, and then Peking Youth Hostel, which is where we are. Find hostels. Now it's time to watch my travel guide.
From here, you got a bird's eye view of Beijing, especially the Forbidden City.
And what better way to see it than through the eyes of a local Beijinger?
Especially at sunset. Seeing the Forbidden City so strictly planned along the central axis.
It's 11 past 5 and it's the earliest I've been up since forever. But if you're in Beijing, you have to join the hordes of people that go around Tiananmen every morning just to see the flag raising ceremony.
Every morning, people get up as early as 2 a.m. just to be the first to arrive in Tiananmen Square to watch the flag raising ceremony. It's become quite the tourist attraction, with some people waiting for hours just to see what is a 3-minute show. You don't have to be Chinese to enjoy the ceremony. The funny thing is, I'm quite moved by the fact that all these people were here so early in the morning. It's a little early for me to be up, but it's worth it just for the atmosphere. The noise and bustle before the flag is raised, and then the silence in between, followed by the noise again. It's almost surreal.
That was so symbolic. It's crazy. Look at the hordes of people with their phones and cameras out. And now that the flag is raised, everyone should be leaving soon.
I think I'll take a little walk to the Forbidden City now. The Forbidden City is located directly to the north of the Tiananmen Gate. This was the imperial palace for almost 5 centuries. It was the home of the emperor and his household, as well as the ceremonial and political center of the Chinese government. The Forbidden City, at 72 hectares, is the world's largest palace complex. It took 14 years to build, and today it houses the Palace Museum. The Forbidden City was declared a World Heritage Site in 1987 and is listed by UNESCO as the largest collection of preserved ancient wooden structures in the world. Within its walls, the emperor used to start his day by greeting his ministers. While that time is now in the past, throughout the Forbidden City, you'll still see the emperor's emblem, the dragon. As yellow was the symbol of the imperial family, it is the dominant color in the Forbidden City. The roofs are built of yellow glazed tiles, the decorations in the various halls are painted yellow, and even the bricks on the ground were turned yellow. The one exception was the Royal Library. You can still see the tiles and ancient relics at the Forbidden City today, and it's easy to feel like you're being transported back to a time when the city existed in all its imperial glory.
Wow, it's amazing. You know, in the past, every girl dreamt of entering the palace as a concubine or a mistress, but once they were within these walls, they wouldn't be allowed to leave, or it was really hard to at least. You know, can you imagine how many lives and stories these walls contain? It's amazing stuff. And I've been thinking about it a little as well. If given the choice, would you live here?
And now, all that's left are the memories and the treasures and the stories. Entry into the Forbidden City will cost you 60 yuan, a small price to pay for a feel of the ancient city. Once you exit the north gate of the Forbidden City, just a short walk across the street is our next stop, Jingshan Park. Jingshan Park is one of the most famous parks in Beijing, and Jingshan Hill offers one of the best views around.
I'm standing at the highest point of the central axis line. And I'll tell you this, the view is amazing. You can see the roofs of the Forbidden Palace stretch right across down south. So beautiful.
Jingshan Park was originally an imperial garden, but it's now been turned into a public park. It's beautiful and serene, and it's really no wonder that so many locals come here over the weekends. And you'll find the emperor's official flower, the peony, spread across the grounds. One famous site in the park, although a little morbid, is the place where the last emperor of the Ming dynasty took his own life. I suggest you pay a visit on a Sunday like I did if you want to see what goes on in a Beijing park.
Flip shot.
It can get a little crowded sometimes, but that just adds to the atmosphere. Aside from Tai Chi and meditation, the locals believe that singing is both good for your health and helpful in preventing depression. That's why 1,000 people congregate at the same spot every week.